Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/PettyRevenge. In today's episode, he was a jerk on my right for 12 and a half hours. My house help helped herself to my contraband alcohol, so I fixed it. I don't think the porch pirates want my packages anymore. Pretty sure I ruined my ex's life with this one. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. He was a jerk on my right for 12 and a half hours. Flying back from Tokyo, I was on a full airplane. It's a long flight. I was pissed, but I try to be extra courteous to the people in the seats on either side of me because it is uncomfortable. Usually I opt for a window or aisle seat, but because of a snafu that still hasn't been ironed out, my visas were disapproved sometime after I flew out of the USA and landed in Tokyo, but that's another story. I was one of the last on the plane and worked my way to the back and found my seat, 7 rows from the back, in the center seat, a lovely woman from Atlanta on my left and a grumpy old sh*t from hell on my right. It's a good thing I'm slender because my row mates were rather robust in stature and it would be elbow to elbow. The woman got up and let me in, and the gentleman by the window looked at me and said, "Shit. It's already too crowded." And then turned toward the window and grumbled to himself. I got into my seat and noticed his shoes were where my feet should be. I asked if they were his, noticing that the woman still had hers on. He said they were and turned back to the window. Could I get you to move them so I can get comfortable? I didn't want to touch someone else's property, let alone their shoes, because, well, His rotund girth couldn't reach them, so the lady got up so I could move out of his way. He grunted and he fished them out. He slid them under my seat and I said I was going to put mine there, and he bent down again and finally moved them under his seat, grumbling something incoherent, but nothing complimentary, and staring darts at me. I finally sat down and had to ask him to pull my seatbelt from under his backside. He said that F***ck word several times, I believe. It wasn't very comfortable, but I am former military and 2x divorced, and can put up with being uncomfortable for very long periods of time. We're in the air and he keeps knocking my elbow off the armrest. We get food and he bumps me when I drink, making it look almost accidental. I turn my air on because of the odor and he turns his on and forces it as best he can toward me. No, I know I am smelling clean. I close my eyes after the meal and he keeps opening and closing the window shade. It annoys the sh*t out of everyone in the area. He keeps adjusting himself in his seat, bumping into me, keeping me from sleeping. It was a continuous 12 and a half hours of him being as discourteous as he could without crossing a line where I say something or begin retaliation, like farting loudly as I bend and stretch my back. The woman and I, she a grandmother to 7 and me expecting my first grandson late this month, had a number of friendly conversations and I wished her the best as the plane began deboarding. The man on the other hand, since he was by the window, had to wait for me to get out of the row to get his case. I, on the other hand, was not in a hurry. I had a 7-hour layover and had plenty of time. I allowed the 6 other rows behind me to get off the plane before me, saying I had to get my backpack from the overhead. The jerk in the window seat said not to me, "Come on, already," in a stage whisper, and I know I didn't hear him. I just kept smiling and letting the back of the plane unload. When they were all out, a guy who had seen my backpack grabbed it for me as he was getting his carry-on. Maybe he'd seen what asshat had done for 12 hours. I was able to be the second to the last off the plane. He ended up being one of the very last getting off the plane. I almost hit him with my backpack as I swung it on my back. He pushed by me, disgruntled, once we got on the jetway. He was grumbling about being late. He was already huffing and all I could do was think, it must be tough being a jackass all the time. My house help helped herself to my contraband alcohol, so I fixed it. I worked in a country where I couldn't have my family and alcohol was prohibited, so we got it from the underground economy at a crazy cost, and I perfected the art of stretching a bottle to cover a month of lonely nightcaps. After a while my bottles never lasted a month, so I monitored closely by placing a mark and skipping shots for a week. Sure enough, the level steadily decreased, so I had some shots then popped in 5 Dulcolax tabs. Needless to say, my house help couldn't come to work for a couple of days as she reported a stomach bug. My facial treats were Estee Lauder products, and once again I detected some mischief. So I used 1 jar to the end, then filled it with Veet. Next time my house help reported for work, she had no eyebrows or eyelashes. I didn't ask, she didn't tell, but I terminated her services in case she figured it out and decided to retaliate. I don't think the porch pirates want my packages anymore. This is pretty basic revenge, but I think it's funny enough to share. Porch piracy has been horrible in my neighborhood lately. Basically, if you aren't home to immediately claim your package, it will be stolen. Nothing is really being done about it by the police, despite there being a lot of proof from various home security cameras, so I took matters into my own hands. I don't have the time or skill to make one of those complex glitter bombs or anything, but I wanted to send a message to these people somehow. My solution? Fill a water bottle with pee, tightly pack it into the box so it won't move, and lightly tape the cap on instead of twisting it. That way, as soon as the box is opened, the cap comes off and piss spills everywhere. It's stupid but effective, and what are the thieves gonna do about it? Tell the police they stole a package that had pee in it? I started doing this earlier this week, and after the first 2 got stolen, I'm now able to leave one of these traps front and center on the porch all day without it being stolen. Pretty sure I ruined my ex's life with this one. My ex-boyfriend never got to finish his senior year of high school, and ultimately I ruined his chances on a good life, maybe? Backstory: I was 17, and he was 17, When I met this guy, we connected off the bat, however he was an incredibly bad influence on me. He vaped, so when we started dating he got me into vaping/smoking. Ever since I've been fighting the addiction. It's actually been 2 months now and things are getting better for me, and I've even been feeling more healthy. However, at the time the nicotine addiction really drove me at my lowest and was affecting my work and grades for school. Wanna know why? Because he actually told me if I helped him with his schooling, meaning doing his homework and tests since we were hybrid at school during COVID, that he would do all the great things for me, take me on dates, walks at the park, hell, even would help us with our arguments, since we had them a lot after the high school honeymoon phase. Our relationship became worse throughout the months. I had nobody and he had all his friends. He forbid me from talking to my old friends and said he would expose some pretty heavy stuff about me. I was scared, especially since he had proof. So I would just shut up and do his homework and try and squeeze in my own. One night in particular, he actually told me in my car that he was tired of me. This was close to the finals our senior year. He was still failing because we grew distant and I was trying to focus on my own stuff, so he took control of his own homework. He said he wanted to be single. I was obviously livid. I felt used. But one thing that just threw me off the edge was when he said he's going to break up with me, but not until I take all of his finals and pass them online, that he will delete the pictures of me nude, as well as keep my secrets that are pretty detrimental. Remind you, I was hurt. He was my first young love, my world was strictly him. It's sad, so I agreed, thinking he would feel bad and not break up with me. But all things come to an end when you snap. He was supposed to take me to prom to put up an act for my family and his, not for sure why, doesn't make much sense, but it was a plan, I guess. Anyways, after buying a $200 with money I worked for, got my hair and makeup done, my mom hired a photographer. He ended up telling me he couldn't do it anymore and ended up taking this other girl that was supposedly his best friend. Yeah, they ended up hooking up and his friend sent me the pics. You bet I was livid. Now you're probably here to know how I possibly screwed my ex out of a good life. Well, remember those finals? Yeah, I made him fail all of them, all 0%. And for fun, I made a Tinder and matched with his dealer LOL. He was pissed at the fact that I had a Tinder. But when I told him he should look at his grades, he actually lost it. Posted my pictures all over Snapchat, told his friends and they told their friends, so on. But the crazy part was, nobody actually cared. I in fact had more of his friends on my side afterwards because they thought he was psycho. Little did they know LOL. Anyways, he texted me 3 months into my new relationship, which me and this new guy are great, we know boundaries and have respect for each other and our friends. Yeah, it turns out he had to retake every class, his mom kicked him out and so he had to get a job and try to retake those classes. He ended up just dropping out completely and now works at a factory job for $12 something an hour, lives in his car. I felt bad but he had no way to prove to the school or anyone that it was actually me who took those tests and not him since it was done on his school computer. By far, the most pettiest sh*t I've ever done. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share and we will see you in the next video.